Hey there guys, how you going? So if you clicked on this banner, then you know what time it is. Time for another breaking banner, as we've decided to call him. So we're going to take a look at the Xion EX banner, which granted has been out for about over a week at this point, and more importantly, the Simba falling price banner. So let's jump right into them. Okay, so let's start off with the brand new medals inside the Xion EX banner. Obviously we have Xion EX itself, and Final Boss Xion. I didn't put up a video on this like breaking banner style straight away because I was like, well, I already know for a fact I'm going to be pulling to Mercy Pull this, so you guys can pretty much watch along with me. If you guys somehow didn't see that video, you can check it out. I'll leave it at the end of this one, or pop it in the description, or what have you. But basically, yeah, I did a 5-pull Mercy for Final Boss Xion, and even though the pull rates for this one right here, Xion EX, are pretty good, I unfortunately wasn't able to grab a copy of this one, so a little bit bummed out by that, but that's alright, that's just fine. I'm going to keep on keeping on, and let's talk about this medal. So, wow, another one of this second round of EXs. It's ludicrously powerful for where we currently are. Crams so many buffs into one medal, and if you're able to get at least one copy of this, you're a very, very happy person. Okay, so what does it do? Raises your own magic-based strength for 5 tiers for 1 turn, as well as your general strength, lowers the enemy's resistance to magic by 3 tiers for 1 turn, and the general defense by 1 tier for 1 turn. So, you have a grand total of what? 10 buffs effectively crammed into one medal, with a really, really high multiplier as well. If you're able to guilt this thing, which, if you do get a copy of it, it's definitely worth the 3 brooms. The multiplier can go from 5.96 up to 11.04 when at max guilt. Now, the range on that is based on how much HP you have, so it should pretty much be at full at all times. You should arrange your setup in such a way that you have either you fire it off in the first turn, in which case you should be at full HP anyway, or you have some sort of healing medal right in front of it, 0.2 Kairi for example, to ensure that you're at full health, and you're going to be hitting for some ridiculously high damage. Obviously, any Keyblade with a reverse magic slot will do very, very well here. We don't have it yet, but Diamond Dust will be out probably 2 months from now, and in which case it's like a full reverse magic Keyblade, so it's going to be very, very nice there. Here's the thing though, we do have the pet slot now, so there's for me at least, a 2.50 slot sitting in the 6th slot that does any single attribute at all. So if you get like any of these really, really powerful medals, they're not going to be on the most powerful slot of all time, but a 2.5 slot is still pretty nice, and that's only going to get stronger and stronger from here. Before too long, we'll have it at 2.7, and who knows beyond that point, maybe 2.9, maybe 3.0 or above. So, I mean, as far as best Keyblades go, yeah, obviously there are some with reverse magic slots, but that's not to say it's a bad medal on any Keyblade, to be perfectly honest, and that's going to go for a lot of medals in the future, I think. Fairy Stars is a reverse magic multiplier on the 2nd slot, so does Counterpoint, I believe. Even though it's only the 2nd slot, again, it's an EX medal with a ton of buffs, so even if you use it and don't necessarily get, I don't know, the massive damage because it's in such a low slot, you'll still be setting up magic medals later on. Like I just said, Counterpoint, if you put this medal in the 2nd slot and then keep using magic medals in your Counterpoint after that, they're going to hit like friggin' trucks because you buffed them up really nicely. So, in terms of partner medals, obviously 0.2 Kairi is pretty much a must. Well, not a must, because you could have, I don't know, extra cast, double cast Pride Land Sora, or, I don't know, Key Art 12, whichever one that was. I don't know, I don't have them. For VIP players, but again, free to play, you probably want 0.2 Kairi. You also want a way of lowering the enemy's general defense down. So you can see I've listed Final Form Xion there, which we're going to talk about in a sec. But any of those ones that I've talked about 100 times that lower all the enemy's general defense would be very, very appreciated if you want to use this thing in Coliseum. And a copycat medal. Honestly, like HD Nominate, HD Xion sitting in front of it to copy it, and also Key Art Beginnings, Bonds, and Sky. Nearly forgot it for a second there. Right behind it are going to be fantastic medals because you cram all these buffs into one medal, it makes complete sense to use them again, especially if you've got a guilted version of your copycat medals, then yeah, it makes complete sense to get the effects of that medal more than once. Especially with like, let's say Moogle of Glory, HD Xion, I believe sits right in front of Xion EX if you have one, very, very nicely on that Keyblade, I believe in the 3rd and 4th spot respectively. I know that Fairy Stars has a reverse power slot, but I don't believe it's in front of a reverse magic. I believe the reverse magic is in front. Anyway though, still very, very powerful stuff. Anyway, we've talked this one to death. It's been out for a week. You guys have definitely, probably all pulled for it already. Definitely, probably. Final boss Xion. So you guys saw that I went ahead and mercy pulled this one straight away. I'm trying to break into the Colosseum, and I think this is what this medal is really, really good for. Lowering general defense for 2 tiers for 2 turns is incredible for that. Obviously there exist medals currently that lower general defense by 2 tiers for 1 turn. The fact that it goes into 2 turns is really, really powerful. That means that, okay, let's say for example you keep this medal towards the back of your Keyblade. Let's say it's on Missing Ache or Divine Rose, for example, where the really big reverse slots are at the back, like the 4th or 5th spot respectively. Sorry, Missing Ache is all reverse slots. What was I saying? Sleeping Lion is what I meant. Sleeping Lion has a reverse slot in the 4th, I believe. Anyway, if you're able to reduce, like take off a good percentage of the enemy's defense, then into the second turn, like if you're forced to go into the second turn, which again we're talking high level Colosseum stuff, we're talking very, very high level Hades Cup type enemies or strong stuff like that. Let's get rid of that. It's a medal for more high level players, so I don't know if I'd recommend this medal to every single player out there, particularly not new ones, although it is a very, very good medal. New players who probably want to build up their stocks of like your, I don't know, your utility medals like your 0.2 Kari and even KH2 Kari. They give you a lot of versatility. A medal like this is really, really good for like, well, for my game, perfectly honestly. I'm a big Divine Rose user, and Divine Rose has that reverse speed slot right at the back. We got this brand new Missing Ache now, which has a really nice reverse speed slot all the way through. And because I'm trying to push into Colosseum, I really need medals that lower the enemy's general defense. So I think it's a good match for me, and pulling for it, I had a chance of getting Xion EX, which would have been incredible, but alas. For new players, I don't think you really, because it'd be good to have for the future, and you might get Xion EX while you pull for it, but I don't know, until you get like a Divine Rose or a Missing Ache, you really don't have anywhere to put it. I mean, you have Lady Luck, yeah, sure, but the content that you're trying to pass being like the story mode content and like a lot of the easy, like the early raids and what have you, you're not really going to see a big advantage from general defense going down. It's really only for the high level stuff. But saying that, if you do pick this up and you get lucky, you get an EX medal, you know what, maybe you can beat the next Hades Cup and get lots of jewels from that. So I would definitely recommend, like, it's a medal for everyone to be sure, but more towards the sort of experienced players that have been around for a while. And again, partner medals, you want to get the attribute buffs going, you want to get SP restore definitely, because this one's multiplier is based on how much SP you currently have. So again, let's take a look at the multipliers. Really, really nice stuff. Again, fully gilted at 180%. We're looking at an 11.90 multiplier. If you meet those SP requirements, that is absolutely barbaric. That is completely insane. And I believe with 3 dots, which is where we get it dropped at, it's just below, or just, no, it's just above 4.0 something, I don't know. I've got the stats there for 0 dots, 5 dots, and fully gilted. Even though 0 dots isn't technically possible right now, but, well, actually as of the falling price still today it is. Same with this one right here. I don't think this 0 dots is possible for this medal right now, but thought I'd list it just in case. Yeah, obviously reverse speed, or any Keyblade with a reverse speed slot is going to do really, really nicely with this medal. But you can also put it on literally any Keyblade out the front as just a general debuffer. I know a lot of people in Colosseum, for example, have different setups based on the attribute of the enemies that they're about to face. This could sit really nicely on the front of any blade, just as a debuffer, like not as a damage dealer. Because you might have, let's say you're going into fight power-based enemies, you want to have a really, really strong magic Keyblade, but you also want to take down the enemy's general defense. Well, you know, here you go. You put this one at the front, you put really strong magic medals at the back, yeah, and away you go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the new falling price banner in a second. I was going to make one of these for Simba, but 2 things. I didn't have the exact damage calculations for all 3 of my categories, so I didn't want to like put in incorrect information. And also, not to be an arsehole, but it's kind of crap. Especially when we're talking about, like this thing exists. This thing right here exists and is something you could pull for. And then they went and introduced, like, the new Simba medal. Again, not to be an arsehole, but it ain't great. We'll talk about it in a sec. Okay, so we have a falling price deal. Now, obviously, the good thing about falling price deals is the price of each pull decreases. So for, I believe, it's 1900 jewels is the cheapest, so you can do 5 pulls, which get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper each time, until, I think it's like, yeah, 1900 jewels for the final pull. I think, I worked it out before, you can do effectively like 7 pulls for the price of 5, or nearly 7 pulls for the price of a regular 5. So it is a pretty cool way of building up your stash of premiums, and this one in particular only guarantees tier 5 or above in the pulls. So I thought, well, I'm going to list out every single tier 5 medal that you could potentially obtain from this banner, and we'll talk about it. When I first heard of the banner, I was like, okay, cool. As I usually do every time a new banner comes out, maybe this will give me a chance to finally guilt my HD Roxas, or guilt my Dark Riku. Because guilting is power in this game, guys. If you can guilt a medal, you just break so far ahead in terms of the amount of damage you're able to deal, especially to higher level enemies. Like, I don't know, it's definitely important to try and guilt your stuff. I shouldn't have to tell you guys that. So I think, okay, how is this going to give me the potential to guilt my Roxas or my Dark Riku? Is that worth investing jewels into? Well, let's think about how many tier 5s are in the game. 10 of them right here, 10 of them right here, 10 of them right here, that's 30 already. And then on the next page, Lingering Will is interestingly enough tier 5, and so is Lord of the Dead here, so that's 32 tier 5s, and the rest of them on this page are all tier 6s. I believe all the tier 6s are capable of being pulled as well, but who knows if they have lower rates or not. Anyway, I'm just trying to think like, alright, let's say I want to do a pull for my Dark Riku or a HD Roxas. I effectively have a 1 in 37 chance of coming up with the medal that I want. That ain't great. Unfortunately, that's really not great. If it was more, like they've done falling price deals in the past, which had a really, really limited amount of medals. It was like, I don't know, only a few of these, or up to Kyrie or something. And no, that's right, it was Kyrie and beyond. It was like pretty much Kyrie up to HD Ventus, I believe. Like all the medals in this list here had the potential to be pulled. In which case, the chance of getting something that you want, if what you want is among those medals, is really, really good, and that's probably the time to go for it. In a case like this, although all these medals are really great, granted, they are all, they're all tier 5s, they're all very, very strong. I really want to guilt medals. That's how we get ahead in this game, is by being able to finally guilt a high level medal. So, unfortunately, like, I would be getting a lot of these medals for the first time if I was to do a pull, and the odds of that happening are very, very high. So for me, I just can't justify pulling off this banner as much as I would like to, because I love falling price deals. I simply can't justify it. In terms of the brand new medal, Simba, like I said, it's almost not worth talking about, because in a world of ridiculous medals, he's not great. Anyway, he lowers the enemy's general defense by 1 tier for 2 turns, as well as their power-based defense by 2 tiers for 2 turns. He does pretty good damage, to be sure, but in this game, it's pretty much buffs. Like, buffs and debuffs, and what this medal can do for you so that your big hitters can come in later. That's all that's all it is. And for me, those buffs aren't nearly enough to justify it. I mean, for Christ's sake, Sephiroth EX, obviously it's a very, very rare EX medal, but Sephiroth EX does literally everything that this Simba medal does, and so much more. Granted, it only lasts for 1 turn, but even if you get the 2 turns worth of effect from the Simba medal, the Sephiroth one still definitely outclasses it. Definitely. It's like, obviously they have to release weaker medals. They can't have everything be the new hotness. But when you see a medal like this come out, especially in a falling price, that usually means it's time to save. And if you guys have seen my video talking about what's coming up in the future, you know saving is definitely what you want to be doing, because there's going to be so much good crap coming out soon. It's definitely time to save, and a banner like this is a perfect reason to save. So let me know if you guys are going to pull for it though. Like, it's tier 5s and potentially above is not bad at all. Like, you could pick up a Final Form or a HD Xion right now. That'd be amazing. You could pick up, this Ventus medal, another Kyrie or Wisdom Form Sora. That'd be very, very good, depending on if you don't have like a negative general defense down medal. Yeah. Plenty of good stuff in here, guys, but unfortunately I'm going to have to skip it. But again, let me know if you do pull, let me know what you get. And yeah, enjoy the new content, enjoy the new Proud Mode and Story Mode stuff. See you guys later. Bye.